and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream or drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. You lost your best friend, shit's got you stressing. Wanna find a fool who did it, cock back your weapon. Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill him, you can end up in correction. Some look for the needles and drugs for injection. When I lost Satan, I was ready for the action. This shit hurts hard, and it really did. But you gotta let the pain go, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, then the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an M. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad, imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pains of life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain in life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story.
Hello. Hello.
I don't know if you can hear me or if I sound bad. Let me know.
You do sound bad for whatever reason. It's really low and it's very fuzzy.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. What about now?
No, it's still, now it's all like staticky and electric. You sound like a robot.
Still can't hear me, huh?
I heard you just then, but you still sound like a robot, unfortunately.
Oh, there you go. And I still sound like a robot?
You do, and it's very fuzzy.
Oh my gosh. She said it's still fuzzy. I couldn't even hear you just a second ago, so hold on.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you now until just a few minutes where you said, "Can you hear me now?" And I was like, "Yeah, now I can hear you. I didn't even know you were talking."
What about now? How do I sound? Digital?
Yeah, you still sound the same. It hasn't changed. And now I can't hear you at all.
All right, what about now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's still the same. I don't know what.
Oh my gosh. Look, I would love to say I know why this is occurring, but I don't. So let's just play with something real quick. Because last week we had sound issues, right?
Yeah, with the song, but you sounded perfect. And now this week the song played fine, but now you're sounding staticky and like a robot almost.
Oh my gosh. That sucks. Look, I'm up here trying to reset my sound. Hold on.
Okay.
I apologize for the inconvenience. Look, this is. Do I sound now?
I'm sorry, you sound the same.
Not a problem. She said, I'm sorry, you sound the same. Don't be sorry. You ain't, God don't make nothing sorry. Control panel, everyone. Let's click on this. Is Nickelodeon.
You still
System plugged in, right? Look, let me check my system plug in. Ooh, the issues of reality. Can you hear me now?
Yes, and you sound good.
There, I'm back.
Yes, that's nice and clear.
All right, look. I apologize that we had to spend the first few minutes of the show. What is that? 6 minutes of the show trying to figure out my sound. Um, Hi everybody, welcome back.
Welcome to the show.
Hi Queen, how's it going today?
It's going good. It's going good. I'm just in the house relaxing.
Look, are you staying out of our bad air?
Is the air bad right now?
Colorado's air is the number one bad air in the world.
You know what? That explains like a meme that my friend literally just sent me a few minutes ago, and I had no idea what she was talking about. But she was like, "This air tastes like a fireplace," and I was like, "What is she talking about?" But maybe that's what she's talking
That's
about.
exactly what she's talking about.
Ah.
Colorado's air right now completely sucks. Um, okay. Welcome back, everybody. I am one half of this great duo, Chris Lucas Diggins. I am with Queen. This is Black Conscious Convo presents Loving in Color in Colorado. How has this summer been for you?
You know, it has been a productive summer. It's been a summer of change. It's been a summer of of starting new things. So overall, it's been a pretty good summer, even though I didn't do a lot of summer fun stuff.
For me, summer has been a lot of growth. I keep telling people, I am a work in progress. So when people complain to me about certain things, I also look at myself and see where those same issues I may have or may have dealt with, you know what I mean? And one of the things like I tell people, or not even that I tell people in general, but if someone isn't honest in just regular conversation, how do you deal with that type of person? Because for me, I can't deal with that type of person. I tell people I only have two sides. I have hot and cold. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but I'm an honest person. So it's easy to read if I'm hot or if I'm cold. What about you?
Well, for me, it depends on like what we're lying about. Like, are you lying to me or are you lying to yourself in conversation, right?
Ooh.
Because if you're lying to me about something, then yeah, I'll take that personally. But if you're just lying to yourself in conversation, then more than likely I'm just gonna like pity you or feel like that's some insecurity that you haven't quite worked through. So I won't take it as personal on me. So yeah, like for example, the person that you talk to, when you say you've done something, they've got to match it. They've got to one up it, even if it's a lie or something, or they got to try to have
But that's
something that
not.
kind of matches yours. For me, I don't take that personally because that's some insecurity in them that they haven't quite worked out. But now, if I ask you about a certain situation and you just flat out lied to me about it, now that's a different conversation, you know?
Yeah, but see, like I said, that's like guys. Guys just we lie for some unknown reason, and it is. I mean, to unless you're paying attention, like I'm constantly paying attention, right? Because I don't want to be that guy. So in general, you just start to notice these things when you keep that practice. And I think, like I said, healthcare is one of the reasons that allowed me to keep that practice, is because on a day-to-day basis I had to be open, honest, and truthful with patients. So, it was just something that I was able to build into my life and work, and it worked for me because of the simple fact of I go crazy when I get lied to. Does that that's weird, isn't it?
No, I agree. I do get crazy when I because it makes me feel crazy being lied to. So
Oh, look at
excuse
you.
me. It's not even necessarily that I get crazy. I just start to feel crazy. Like if you lie to me and you're contradicting what my instincts tell me, that's gonna make me feel a little crazy because now I'm questioning myself. But if you're lying to yourself about, saying you've done something that you haven't actually done before, that you've been somewhere that you haven't actually been before, well then, I just feel sad for you because now you're living this delusion of grandeur that isn't actually fulfilling for life, and you're always going to be miserable on some level. So in no sense, I kind of pity those types of people.
And that's the thing right there. Like, you know, um, me working in healthcare, somebody said there was this white guy that was going around Facebook pulling up black people's basically their information, doing background checks, which is illegal for people to do. If you don't have a just reason for doing that, you can be taken to court. But he was just doing this and telling people about their history, and he tried to call me out about mine. And I'm sitting there going, first off, I grew up in a time period where when you did a credit check, you didn't put your job on your credit check. You just said you worked for this place and that was it. You didn't put your actual job title and all of these things so that it came up on your credit report. And the reason why you didn't do these things is because I grew up in a time frame where they was talking about um when we were going into the digital age. Like we already had the internet, you know what I mean? We was already internet savvy and like things like that, but we didn't know what the internet could be, right? That was next generation. So we grew up with this theory that um the military was going to, or should I say, there were adults, hippies, that was telling us that they were going to put a chip in our hand. They're going to put a chip in our hand. The big brother's watching you. They're going to put a chip in our hand. And we grew up with this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
we grew up with hippies. And this is one of the reasons why I miss hippies, especially like the ones in Boulder, because they were our allies. Like when you think about the movement in the 60s and 70s, one of the things that they could not stop was the hippie movement, which intermingled with every movement that was going on. Love, make love, not war. Civil rights issues, women's issues, you know what I mean? Like all of those things worked themselves out in, or not even worked themselves out. All of those things came together along with being hippie. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's something that you don't see nowadays. Like, where are our hippie allies? You know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen the movie Airplane?
No, I don't believe so.
It's a comedy. You should check it out.
Oh wait, I've heard of it though. It's the movie, and I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never watched it all the way through. It's the movie where each person in a different seat is like representing some type of racial or social or political
Yes,
satire.
it is. Yes, it's a it's a comedy on all things, like everything that we talk about in America. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and it's so amazing how a nurse is able to speak jive, which that is what we used to call our
The-
language,
that part cracked me
right?
up.
Back in the day. Yeah, and see,
She said,
some
excuse me, wait, I speak jive.
yeah, see, and that's what people don't, and that's that jive talk. That's that jive talk. You know what I mean? Like people, it was great. That's why people really love the 60s and 70s when it comes to things like that, because it was a time of movement where everybody was really, or not everybody. You had the masses though honestly trying to work together to make a better America. And we lost that movement of working together somehow some way. And now we need to start working back with us so we can get back to working with everybody else. And I keep telling people that, and it's like that sounds like that sounds so crazy. You know what I mean? Like somebody said you're ostracizing white people from your show. Like, what do you mean I'm ostracizing white people from our show?
First of all, ain't nobody asked to join. That's first.
Period.
And so we can't ostracize people who ain't actively trying to participate in a conversation. That's, first of all, people need to really learn the context of how to be using certain words. And furthermore, we have to take care of self first. This is something
Period.
that, we understand on a national level, as there's a huge movement of Americans first, take care of America first. So it's the same sense with everybody. You have to take care of you first before you can take care of somebody else, before you can help somebody else. And the same thing, you can use that with everything. Our community, the Black community, we have to take care of ourselves and build unity within ourselves before we can align with anybody else, which is part of the reason we're having a hard time aligning with other communities is because we're not aligned amongst ourselves.
Period. And then the ones that are already aligned with Caucasians are the ones that honestly don't really care for their black community. And that's just the bottom line to it. I know people love to say certain things. And yes, if we look at statistics like robots, right? This is the whole reason why people are scared of AI, because they believe statistically they'll go, well, humans are going to kill themselves anyways, so robots might as well take over. If we look at life statistically, then yes, statistically, we're always going to have the divides that we have in the areas that we have these divides. But at the same time, though, if we start to look at statistically how if we work on each other first and then go outside of our communities to work with others, we have better chances of growing into better human beings.
Right.
And that's what this is about, us growing and acknowledging that we are just trying to be better and trying to understand. And being honest is what's the whole point of why people are not understanding.
That is true. Being honest, because it can be so hard to do because people haven't really accepted the fact that honesty it doesn't mean that it's nice. It doesn't mean that it's going to be something that you want to hear. Sometimes honesty it hurts and it can make another person feel some kind of way, and I feel like we get so caught up and worried about how other people are going to feel that we become dishonest to ourselves and to them because we're like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings, I don't want them to feel left out, or I don't want people to think that I'm a bad person because I'm saying that we should take care of us first. But sometimes that's what it requires.
It does. And it, as I was growing up, like my experiences of being a man are taught to me by my grandfather. My grandfather was 100% the man, like I said. And one of the things he used to always say is the truth will set you free. And I would be like, what do you mean by that?
And he goes, "The truth will set you free." And I'd be like, Paul, you need to. I can't understand these little short sayings. Like, can you give me some insight? Because I was just one of those curious boys. You know what I mean? Like I said, I want to know why. I wanted to know why the birds flew and why the air was air. You know what I mean? I was that kid that asked you why, and you were going to either leave me alone or keep answering my questions. That's all there was, right? But in all of that, like I said, I'd never like to be lied to. Oh yeah, Queen, what are you smoking today?
Today is still a doobie day for me, people, but I am smoking it out of my fancy coffee cup my sister got me. It says Stoner Girl, and it has a pipe attached to it or built into said coffee cup.
That is a
So
hard coffee cup.
I feel, and it's blue, which is my favorite color. So, I can give the illusion of being a businesswoman who's having her nice cup of coffee or tea, and then I can flip it over and take a nice little hit. So, it is a pretty dope coffee cup. I always wanted one, but I wanted to make one when I was in high school. I was big into ceramics, and I wanted to make one of these, but I had one of those hippie teachers, and you had to get up real early to fool her.
Oh yeah. The hippie
She
turned
busted
straight. Not
up.
that they're hippie. They're
Yes,
hippie
she
turned
did what?
straight.
I'm
Yeah.
sure she was still smoking at home, but
Oh,
she
of course. But
she
you
was
couldn't,
busting
yeah. But
several
you
students for
yeah,
trying
you
to
was
build
not
little
going
pipes.
yeah. You couldn't do that in her class though.
No, she wasn't
No.
gonna let you get away with it.
We had the first hippie I met was my he wasn't my teacher. He was the drama teacher though at Montbello High School. And everybody that didn't have that had a class that they wanted to ditch was either in there or they was in the band room. And it was funny because it was like, wow, that's a hippie drama teacher. Like he was cool as shit, but there were some other things going on there that you just couldn't question. Like, you know what I mean? Because he was a hippie, you just knew like acid had been involved in. You know what I mean? He had stories of friends that went to Woodstock, but he didn't make it to Woodstock. Uh, but it was fun though. Like that was my first experience of a hippie, and then he was like, "There's a lot of me in Boulder," and then we started going up to Boulder and found, oh yeah, we found good weed and everything. Like Boulder has some cool ass white people and they loved black people. That's not the Boulder that we know now.
Damn, I was gonna say I ain't never experienced that boulder. I was always uncomfortable up there and really weird. And this is also right when I worked up there. This was when Trump was running for office. So while I was up there was a lot of like Trump flags and
Oh yeah, no,
shit like
during
that.
so I'll say this from 95 to about 2005. Boulder was the shit as like just vibe scene, like in general you felt so loved and all of that when you went to Boulder. Like unless you screwed some shit up, you know what I mean? Boulder didn't even you had no issues in Boulder. But don't break the law. You know what I mean? That was just it. Don't break the law. Uh But beyond that, Boulder was so cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was during the time of Eric Bieniemy on the CU Buffs team. Like, that was a gangster that everybody knew was a gangster on on CU's team. Like, we was hyped during those times, and it was just amazing. But that's just it, though. It was the honesty that was there in all our forms of relationships. that I'm not seeing in today's forms of relationships. Like, so many people call people friend, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing.
You think so?
Everybody is not our friend. And we
Yeah,
call.
you're right. You're right. I got what you're saying about that because some people are just acquaintances,
Yeah.
some people are like affiliates, some people are co-workers.
That's it. Yeah, there you go. That's one of the things that people used to find real bothering about me when it went came to work. When I got off work, I didn't go hang out with people. There was only one other nurse that I hung out with. And it was just because for some reason for me she was like an amazing individual. She was a mother who had a man who didn't know it, or not that she had a man, she had a boyfriend that did not have a clue on what he wanted to do or be, or where he wanted to do or be at, you know. um they had she had 3 kids, and they were just the greatest little girls. Like, they were just awesome. And you know what I mean? I, she asked me to go out with her a couple of times, and I went out with her a couple of times just because I knew what she was going through. You know what I mean? She just wanted to get away and get and have somebody motivate, just feeling free for the night, you know? And that
Yeah.
and that's what I was good at. I was good at motivating a great time. And you know what I mean? Like, you went out with me, I'm gonna make sure I'm that guy to have fun with. There's no, oh yeah, I'm gonna be at the club mad and in the corner and like, that never made any sense to me. Like, why did you even go out if that's what you do? You know what I mean? Um, but beyond that though, like, when it came to work relationships, I went to work with you. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see me at home. No, I didn't invite you over. No, I didn't go out for hanging out and anything. Plus, I was selling dope. Like, nigga, I'm selling crack when I get off work. Y'all don't even know I'm going on my lunch break to sell motherfucking dope. Like, like, for real. And it was just though, like, I've always been able to keep these things separate and know where these relationships, how much information is involved with certain relationships. You know what I mean? And I watch now people just share everything.
People do. But that's how the nature of how society is now, I think, in general. I think when I first, somebody just asked me, like, I think when I had my happy hours, telling her, like, well, when I was in high school, we had MySpace and YouTube. And then as soon
Yeah,
as I
MySpace was the
graduated,
shit though.
Facebook had just started up and then Instagram. And so I told her, back in those days of online and being online, it was like you wanted to do it with anonymity. You didn't want to put too much out there. You were trying to be more mindful about what you were putting out there. And now you have to put yourself out there. You have to share yourself. You have to be consistently sharing yourself in order for people to connect with you. And it's the same way with our businesses. A lot of businesses are having conversations about how if you're not participating in online social media marketing or advertising, you're doing yourself a disfavor because most people now, how they shop and look for things and look for services is through social media and being online. So now you're having to put yourself out there and your personality out there much more than what you had to do in the past.
Yeah, because like I said, a lot of people in my age group grew up with that whole um big brother, they're going to put a chip in your hand, they're going to put a chip in your hand. And in all actuality, they did put a chip in our hand. They gave us cell phones.
That's true.
You know what I mean? We bought the chip. Think about it. I sleep with an Apple Watch.
Yeah. Yeah, you're very much so true. Instead of bugging you underneath your skin, now you just carry the chip in your phone, in your hand everywhere. It tracks your location. It knows what you're talking about. It's always listening to your conversations. Knows your height, your weight, your size, your eating patterns because it's there with you when you go grocery shopping. So
It
yeah.
it is we're wearing the chip and didn't even think about how these things were going to be implicated. You know what's crazy? Have you noticed that you have like 40 likes? I don't know if you noticed that.
I do notice that. I didn't know what they meant.
Neither
Every
did
time
I.
I came back and I started seeing it go up, and I was like, why is it saying 10? Like last week or something, it said 10. And I was like, what is this 10 for? And then today
Yes.
it said like 30. And I was like, what is this 30 number? So yeah, I noticed that, but they're not following me, and I don't know what that means either.
Neither do I. I think that just means that people like you. Like, I don't look, we got to figure that stuff out because
Yeah, I'm like,
I
maybe they
love
like
that.
my photo or something.
I mean, I love that. I mean, just in general, like the involvement that's going on with the convo is great. Um, so I had asked you something earlier, and I know me and you could like. This is the reason why I love doing this show with you. No matter when we talk, we both talk openly and honestly with each other. We can go for a very long time if we didn't have things to do when we talk on the phone to each other. And I know that's like, I don't know if for you that makes one of the reasons why you want to do this show, but I think that makes one of the reasons this show is so great is that I always enjoy just talking openly and honest with you.
Yeah, I do too. And I think a lot of it that makes it easy for me to show up and do this is who you are. Because there's a lot of black men. I think me and you talked about this before, where I said that no matter where I go, patriarchy is there in the men. So a lot of times when I'm trying to share my opinion with men, they have a hard time receiving it because patriarchy is telling them that my opinion is not as valuable and I need to stay in my place. And they really will get offended, or even sometimes it can get real dangerous depending on who I'm talking to and what the subject
especially
is.
being in especially being in the hood. Like, I totally get that. One of the things I keep telling people is that the hood only comprehends so much, and this is why we have this show, is because I do know the hood does want to grow. It's just how we introduce the hood to growing. We can do it really fast and in a what you call it way to where they're not going to understand, and then they're going to think, oh, we're just turning white.
Mm-mm.
Because that's the first thing they start to think of when they start thinking, oh, you're going to get educated. First, we need to remind them that people of color have been educated for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to make a new norm. The honesty that black people have always been beautiful people.
Right.
No matter the darkest of darks to the lightest of lights, to the tallest of tallest Africans to the shortest of pygmies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have always been beautiful people, and we need to be honest about these things. And this is why I am going to be at Dr. Umar is going to be here in Denver.
Oh, he coming?
Yes, I
I
do
would love to
believe.
see Dr. Umar.
I believe it's the 13th.
Oh shit! I didn't even know. I have to check that out because yeah, I would. Oh, you know what? I did see some people on the corner handing out flyers, and I bet that's what it was too. I saw some Hebrew Israelite people. They was out there in they purple and gold and black, and they was handing out flyers to something. But I didn't bother to stop because I don't really rock for Hebrew Israelites like that. But I did see them out there handing out tickets or something. So I bet it was to the Dr. Umar event because that seems like something that they would definitely support. That's a Black conscious conversation. But I like what you said about how we have to be honest about the fact that we've always been beautiful. Because I recently saw a clip going around online that was like, are Black women race loyal because they have to, because don't nobody else want them? And I was like, that is total bullshit. Like, if you believe that, that just means you're caught up in the matrix. The whole world knows Black women are beautiful. That's why everybody copies what we do and what we say and how we dress and what we wear. And they all
Period. Like,
mimic us, but they're gaslighting us by saying we're ugly. They're
not even
gaslighting us
that.
by pretending that we're not attractive and getting people to agree with us not being attractive. That's
No, no, no,
total
no, no, no.
bullshit.
They do even worse than that. They pick and choose what they want to abuse about us and then throw us away as soon as we do something that they don't like. That is the disgusting part. And this is where I understand where we need to start controlling what we do. When you have artists that go, when I look into the crowd and see more of a different color than my own race at a concert, that doesn't make any sense to me. And
Mm-hmm.
we are the ones that created hip hop. When it comes to R&B, so many people have stolen the sound, as even J. Cole has thrown out there, that no one wants to be honest anymore when it comes to being Black. So many people want to cater to their white friends, and that's what I think is the thing that's changed. It's like, oh, but I got a white friend, I gotta cater my conversation that way now. Like, no, you still got to be Black first.
I got that, and I don't even associate myself with white people who are like that because I don't have that filter. Like, I no longer have the I need to be mindful for how white this what I'm saying is going to make white people feel. I lost that like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Nah, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, right around the time I started to go natural. And once you start to go natural, I don't know about everybody else. For me, it really opened up my eye to this system and racism and hatred and how much it affects me on a daily basis. And that pissed me off for a good 2 years. And for a good 2 years on my social media, on my Facebook especially, all you saw was fuck these white folks, waste
angry,
things.
angry, look, angry Black girl gone natural.
Yes, my whole feed was just dispelling lies, telling the truth,
Look,
about what history,
I cheer
posting
you
shit.
on.
My people were I had lost so many followers at one point in time. I lost so many followers. I had so many niggas commenting on my Facebook, like, we don't want to see this pro Black shit all the time. Like, we don't want to see this shit all the time. And now them same people is always posting about police brutality and this, and this. So I'm just like,
And that's
yeah,
the
I
issue,
stopped that
right?
filter a
Like,
while ago.
what happened? Apparently, it wasn't enough for you when we started, but now it's enough for you seeing a lot of Black people just getting taken down for the same freaking reason.
That is true.
And that's the thing that I can't stand. It's just like, once again, you have so many house niggas out here. And this is something that is going to hurt a lot of people. But you have so many house niggas in Denver and the Denver metro area that believe in all things Caucasian. That is one of the reasons it is so hard to be unapologetically Black in Colorado and for them to allow us to be.
Mm,
See, they don't mind giving us the jobs, right?
yeah,
At the same time, though, you can't be that nigga.
that's true. You got to be mindful of how you show up in a space. Um, out
Even if you
here.
have all them tattoos, they'll give you a job, right?
Mhm.
They'll give niggas jobs out here, and black and brown got jobs. We got jobs throughout all major sectors of the thing. It's just once again out here they fall deep into that now I'm your color but I'm not your kind category real quick, and then they get mad when you say something about it,
Mhm.
and it's like, but what are you supporting honestly that's of blackness? And
Exactly.
it's great that you're supporting somebody's barbecue, excuse me. It's great that you're supporting somebody's barbecue or somebody's barbershop or somebody's restaurant. Those are something that we always do. But as me and you have discussed before, Prince Darnell has an insurance company. I'm trying to figure out why we haven't had more people trying to support insurance companies like that. Like I hear about the private ones, but this man is like on social media marketing his insurance company and trying to make it a national insurance company. Like I don't see people trying to make their insurance company national. I see them trying to make it grow for themselves. But like to bring in partners, that's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And a part of that is just, that's just a whole conversation about insurance as a whole because the average person can't really afford insurance, is first.
For
And then
real.
on top of that, most people don't even really fully understand the importance of insurance. Besides, it's something that they need to show the police when they get pulled over. Or, that's as far as their comprehension of insurance goes. And so many people have seen insurance companies screw people out of giving them the money that they needed to repair whatever it was, be it, people who are, I grew up in Florida. So it's common that people experience damage to their homes during hurricanes. And a lot of companies would be like, oh, yeah, we're insured. There's no hurricane insurance, first of all. You have to pay for separate insurance policies, be it flood damage, wind damage, hail damage. You have to have these different riders. And so people who thought they had, the proper coverage on their house, when they came out to inspect the house during, after the hurricane, they're like, oh, well, we couldn't replace your roof because actually it was wind damage that damaged your roof and not hail, and your policy has hail in it. But like wind, hail, water, all of those are a part of a hurricane. So why the fuck isn't it just all included as in like some hurricane policy? But that would be too comprehensive and too easy for, people to actually get their money that they need
That would
to get
be
their house.
honest business marketing. And that would be honest and ethical marketing practices. And that
Exactly.
is something that is not taught. For some reason, marketing is taught to be psychologically manipulating. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Absolutely. And that is
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Like I'm reading a book by a guy named Donald Miller about the building a story brand. And basically it's saying you need to make a story out of your company
Hmm.
for people to understand your company. If it doesn't have a story, then they're not going to understand your business, and therefore your business is not going to be as successful as you would like it to be.
I literally just had that conversation with somebody. They were about their not. They have their own company. It's called Black is Gorgeous, and they wanted to donate all the proceeds to different causes. And I was like, "Well, what causes?" They were like, "Well, different causes." I was like, "No, no, no, no. You got to specifically outline what your story is and how you are going to use the fund that people want, especially if you go market towards Black people, because." We're not just going to grab some shit because it got Black in it. We're going to want to know who is this company that is trying to sell us some stuff, and what are they going to do with our money? who's back there? Is there any black people back there? Like, you got to actually have a full story. And I was like, why don't you incorporate your life? What are you passionate about? Why did you even start this business? Like, that's the shit that people are going to want to know. That's the shit that's going to have people buy into your product. They're not going to buy it just because you're selling a t-shirt with the logo. Everybody's
That is correct. That is
Everybody's selling
correct.
t-shirts.
And that's the thing, is that people don't think about that. How many people are selling t-shirts? How many people are selling just clothing in general? I mean, I think about, like, I'm not even a fashion person. I will not lie to you. I just signed up for a fashion service because of the simple fact that I don't know how to go to the store and pick out clothes. So, you know what I mean? I will go ahead and say it. Shout out Stately. Uh, they're picking my clothes for right now because I don't have time to go to the store and pick out my own clothes. Period. But like I said, honesty in everything that we do is something that we have to start with, and being honest with ourselves in our lives and our relationships, our friendships, our relationships, our families, our relationships. You know what I mean? We need to learn these contexts so that when we deal with people, there are friends, and then there are associates. There are work relationships, and there are personal relationships. Those things are those things are kept in those categories because they are important to your not only just physical well-being, but your mental well-being. There are some people that will not be able to move as you're leveling up. There are some people that aren't going to be able to level up with you, but we like to bring those people that can't level up the way we can level up with us. And I think Benny Siegel is somebody who answered this question on uh I don't want to say Joe Button's podcast, but what's his name's podcast on Revolt. But he was like, I wasn't right at the time. Like, I wasn't the one that needed to be, you know what I mean? Like, if if there are some people that just, you can't take people with you, you know what I mean? And Hove was trying to take Benny and them with him, or not Benny, but is it Benny Siegel? Yeah. Hove was trying to take him with him, but Benny was out there wilding. You know what I mean? And he was like, I was out there wilding, like, you know what I mean? There's only so much he could do for me. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
grown. You know what I mean? I'm wilding. That's one of the things I just remember him saying that. He's like, I was out there wilding. And it's like, I understand, because I just got through dealing with that situation, and somebody being honest with themselves. They don't want to work that hard to be better. They're comfortable in the decision making skills they have.
That is true. And it's funny that you mentioned Beanie, because I was literally just watching a snippet of Charlemagne and somebody he was talking to. I don't know if this person, I think it might have just been his like little side host on whatever podcast he was doing. But they mentioned Beanie because everybody was still talking about they were talking about the baby, but then it spent into Little Nas X and all of the outrage that he gets for his music and his videos. And he referenced what Boosie said, was like, Boosie was like, you see all these young boys trying hard to be straight, and you gonna show them Lil Nas X video. And he was like, no one's trying to be straight. You either are or you aren't. And if you feel like, being straight is something you're trying to do, then more than likely you may not be. And so the guy was saying like, well, I was listening to Beanie Siegel, and whenever I used to listen to him, he used to make me want to, go to the streets and, do some shit. I, wanted to stab some niggas or, really get active. And he was like, but those aren't the same thing, though that's not the same thing. Like that feeling of getting active was something that was already in you. And listening to Beanie just amplified that feeling. And I was
And
like, yeah.
go ahead. No, and see, I totally understand. And see, like in general, like in the hood, it's it's like for Bootsy, I know what Bootsy I can grasp what Bootsy was trying to say. Once again, the verbiage is not there. The diction for certain people is not there. When you say there are young minds who have not made a decision on what they like and what they don't like, when it's suggested to them, that's a different story at a different age, because that's one of those things that is impressionable. And at the same time, it also goes back to us being honest and going, did I let my children watch that on television? Parenting is a 24-hour, 365-day a year job. If your child is watching something that they should not be,
Mm-hmm.
or exposed to something that they should not be, you may want to start having those conversations with your children. That's the honest thing. I mean, if you can't control what they watch, then you need to have conversation openly about what they're watching. Cuz being to me, as somebody who has worked in healthcare for years, I don't comprehend adults asking children under the age of 10 any form of what sex do you like, period.
Mm-mm. Under the age of 10, the conversation, because my son's 11, he just turned 11. So
Right.
my son, the only conversation regarding to sex that I had with him before now was about sexual safety, teaching him that, his private parts are his own and that no one is allowed to touch him there, or,
Period.
he's not allowed to touch anyone there, and, really teaching him to
Period.
establish boundaries around his private parts and his body. And then now that he's, 10 or 11, this year we had the conversation around actual sex, intercourse and periods and things of that nature, because a girl at his school was pregnant. And so that prompted a
Son
lot
of
of
a duck.
conversations about for him about it, because, I don't know if she was actually pregnant or if there was a conversation that was happening amongst the kids that was like, oh, she missed her period, and he wasn't aware of what period meant. And because of that, people, kind of teased him like, oh, you don't know what it is. Da, da, da. So, of course, he went home naturally with questions about it. And it was something that made his dad uncomfortable to actually answer. But
Wow.
he wanted to know what was intercourse and what was a period. So I actually got to have that conversation and explain to him what a period is and what intercourse is. And then I also had a conversation about him and preparing him for his own, puberty, because it's clearly right around the corner for him. If kids in his grade are already, going through, girls are already having their periods, which means that, any day now he's going to be waking up with morning wood. His voice is going to be changing. He's starting to smell. So,
I mean,
I'm starting to have the
I
conversation with him about his body and what he can expect as he starts to begin to go through puberty.
and I appreciate you being, like I said, I appreciate you being a mother of honesty, because as I said, I am a product of what can happen as soon as you start to lie to a child that is, we'll say, in more intuitive than what people believe the individuals can be. Um, I knew that my stepdad was not my real dad. I knew everyone around me was lying when they said, "That's your dad. That's your dad." And you know what I mean? Like I was gonna just, yeah, sit back, believe that one. Look at the nigga. No, you're not my dad. Nah, not happening. For real. Especially when I seen how short the nigga was. I was like, no, nigga, no. You didn't know. For real. No. Nigga, no. But in general, like I I know how it feels when the lies start from in the home. So this is why I chose this this show, honesty, because no matter what you believe to be a better choice for lying, being honest is way better because when you can tell somebody, at least I didn't lie to you, that's way better than what could have come from that lie. And that's the thing. I was angry for years over one lie, and that lie made me angrier and angrier like the Hulk. So every time I was lied to about it, I just got worse and worse and worse and worse. So be honest, people, no matter what.
Absolutely. And watch what your kids is watching because that's the only way you're going to know. Like for me, I have to pay. YouTube is like the most sketchy thing that my son has access to that I can't monitor all the time because he can be on YouTube on his cell phone and I can't always see what he's
But they
doing.
have YouTube Kids, so
Yeah, but my kid is in that in between age where, he's watching some Marvel, he's into Marvel movies, he's into Jurassic Park, and some of that content, the creators who do that stuff aren't kid friendly. They may be cursing or something, when they're talking about these films. And so, I don't want to limit him to just being with, toddlers and shit like that because he's not gonna be into that. He is into teenage content, which can borderline adult content. So I do let him have a little bit of a loose rein on YouTube. And some of the YouTube videos are they curse. So I'm not I got over him watching things that have cursing in it because he hasn't gotten in trouble for cursing at an adult. He's never cursed at a teacher, or I've never caught him cursing at any of his siblings. So clearly he understands the context for which to use curse words. If he's cursing, he's doing it amongst his peers and his friends, and he knows not to use those words towards an adult or towards some family member because he knows he'll get in trouble for that. So for me, I've been gauging it based off of my own kids' level of responsibility. Now, in the same sense, I have a godson where if he sees something on TV or if he sees something in a video, he's doing it. When he watches rap stuff or he watches, gangster stuff, he'll actually try to mimic some of the stuff that he sees on TV. His personality is much more different than my son. My son is more of an introvert. He's more into the sciences, into the arts. He's a nerd. Meanwhile, my godson, he's definitely going to be the center of attention. He's going to be the class clown. He's going to be the one who's going to want the latest clothing. He's 9 years old, and he's very much so aware of how he dresses and his shoes and having his haircut. So he's going to be that type of black man. So I think it's very
where do you
important
think
that
he gets that though?
I think that's his personality. That's just him. That's him and his personality. He is that kind of person. And I think it's important for you to know your child and know what type of personality they have. My son naturally gravitated towards educational stuff. I didn't have to pick that stuff for him. His favorite show growing up was Thomas and Friends. And I thought that was the most boringest shit ever. I thought that show was so boring. It was so hard. I was so grateful when he
My
made it
shit
out of
was
the Thomas.
Arthur.
and Friends section because I could not handle it. Meanwhile,
My
for
shit was
my
Author and Reading Rainbow and uh Electric Company
I
and
mean, yeah, sure
those
for
are
us, those are all the old school cartoons. These kids today have no awareness of those shows.
these weren't cartoons. These were like science shows, like 3, 2, 1, contact was the answer, was the reason
Oh
that
yeah,
everything happened. I mean, these were,
and I
and
like
it
the
was like,
Electric Company too. That they had some good little songs and stuff on it.
yeah, like, you know what I mean? But it was all educational. And then like everybody wanted kids to be better. So like Disney with uh, 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 Jiminy Cricket. Being a conscience was not just Jiminy Cricket's thing on Pinocchio. Jiminy Cricket was a conscience throughout life. Like we're supposed to refer to Jiminy as the form of a conscience that we would think of. You know what I mean? Like he would have you ask yourself, how do you think that person feels when you say harsh things like that? You know what I mean? And then he'd be like, I'm no fool, no siree. I'm gonna live to be 103. I played safe for you and me because I'm no fool. And he'd tell you, walking across the street, you ought to look both ways before you walk across the street because
Yeah, I have no spatial awareness of this. The only thing I know of Jiminy Cricket is Pinocchio, as I'm sure most kids today have no awareness of who even Jiminy Cricket is.
and
That's
that's what I'm saying. Like we grew up with finding out things that were like, you know what I mean, conscious. And that's the thing. That's the reason why I did the show. Like we were woke, but we just did dumb shit just because we had the opportunity to.
yeah, and you know what? When you ask me that, as I think about it, my godson, he actually was was babysat a lot by his auntie and uncle who were, probably about 13, 14 when he was born. So he spent a lot of time around teenagers. So I think that's probably a little bit more the reason why he's into that type of content. He's more into R&B videos. He's more into rap. He's more into, trying to dress and look that way. But I think that's just because he hung around his older auntie and uncle who were teenagers and listening to rap music and watching rap videos and all the stuff that teenage kids do. And
Yeah, and see,
so I think that could play a little bit into his why he has the interest that he does. But yeah, and then on top of that, they just have different personalities. My son is an introvert. He's way more outgoing. So he's way more like trying to get into stuff, trying to do that type of stuff. And my son's like, if he get friends, he get them. If he don't, whatever, he cool. So,
right, I'm
but
doing me. That's what I'm doing right now. When I figure out something else, I'll figure out something else. But
yeah, and if you want to come over here and do what I'm doing, or you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you. Then cool. But that's about as far as it go. But I do think that it's very important that know your child's personality. This goes back to that conversation I had when, I said I think we're doing our children a disservice by not being their friends, by saying constantly, "I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend," and not really giving them the tools to understand like this is what a friendship looks like, and this is how friends treat each other, and this is the way you show up for your friends. The way I show up for you is the way you show up for your friends, and so on and
and
so on.
that's it right
And
there.
then you don't get to see what your kids are. I watch what my son's watching. So while me and my mom had this conversation because she's not comfortable with
Why
some of
does that
the
sound like it dies? Did
topics.
it sound like it died to you at the end?
No,
That little ding a ling a ling a ling. Did it it sounded full like ding a ling a ling a ling.
it did.
Oh, okay. To me, it sounded like it died at the end, like like it didn't want to be hit. Yeah, like it didn't want to be hit. I don't know. I am going to definitely send them messages about how the sound has been working. Um, this is a great conversation about honesty in general. How many? how many relationships have you been in that ended in dishonesty? And that's going to be our question for next part 2 of our series of honesty.
That is
And
a good conversation.
and we're going to throw in there, how are we going to hold ourselves more accountable to our relationships? Let's get into that type of conversation next week, on Wednesday. Anything you want to say to the people on the way out, young lady?
No, thank you guys for bearing with us while we got our sound figured out. We really appreciate your support.
Amen, amen.
Thanks for all the likes, and please remember, if you're not following us, to follow us. We'll be here every Sunday and Wednesday giving you the conversations that you need to hear.
That's right, young lady. I so couldn't have said it any better. And as I like to say, conversation rules the nation, action speaks louder than words. You can catch us both on social media. Miss Queen, where can they catch you at?
You can find me on Instagram at the Mortgage Queen Tia 26, or you can find me on my Facebook page, which is just Talisa F. Hawkins. Find me on YouTube with Talk with Queen Tia. And you can catch me here every Sunday and Wednesday.
And you can catch your boy Chris Lucas Diggins at Instagram, same name, Facebook, same name, and Black Conscious Convo is our page on Facebook, BCC 2020 on Instagram, and then you got www.blackccent.com. That's about it, though. Once again, conversation rules the nation. Action speaks louder than words. Please, everybody, including you, Queen, have a great and blessed evening.
Bye.
Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream or drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. You lost your best friend, shit's got you stressing. Wanna find a fool who didn't cock back your weapon. Don't wanna look to the church for confessions. If you kill them, you can end up in corrections. Some look for the needles and drugs for ejection. When I lost Caesar, I was ready for the action. This shit hurts hard, and it really did. But you gotta let the pain go, and that's how you live. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my stories. Falling in love may be easy to some of y'all, but some people in this world have downfalls. Been in love so many times, their heart got lockjaw. Mention the word love, pause, then the tears start to crawl down their face fast like Niagara Falls. Feeling you had them messed up like prank calls. Why it gotta be so damn hard trying to find the right one? Set your standards high and get this like an and one. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away, what you thinking about? All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the cloud. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out, but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain of life. Just listen to my story. Phone bill is due, rent and cars too. By the end of the month and you got no food. Mom at home first and dad can't go to work. That's only if you had a dad. Imagine that hurt. 4 kids in one house, one mom and no spouse. Not enough room and family sleep on the couch. You don't know why and you looking for an answer. Just found out grandpa got cancer. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pains of life. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my stories. Just listen to my story. Lay your head on your pillow and close your eyes if it's mellow. Daydream and drift away what you thinking about. All the thoughts bottled up and you ain't trying to conceal them. Break out, fly away, see your tears in the clouds. Feel like the world is on your shoulders and your heart is real heavy. You wanna let it out but you don't know if you ready. The death of a friend, falling in love, the pain in life. Just listen to my stories.